Okay. Now, I hope you guys have your credit reports and you've got that step done and out of the way. Now, we are not going to do a dispute just yet. We're holding off a little bit. There's a process here that really, each step is so necessary in getting your score up. Now, this week, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on past due debts. Now, don't get removing debt and taking care of debt confused with credit, because they're not related anymore. To get an item removed, you don't have to have a debt paid off. Vice versa, paying off a debt is not necessarily going to help your credit. In fact, oftentimes, it can be very negative. And that's why this step is very important right where it's at. Now, what I want you guys to do, and again, we have another PDF and a download. There's a ton of those there for you, and I encourage you to get each one. But with this step, what you're going to do is you're going to take all your bills, all your debts, everything, you're going to put them on a spreadsheet so that you can start seeing what your negatives are, what is going against you. I don't care if this is an item that you've paid this last week or you haven't paid them in 4 years. We just want to know what all those debts are, and then we're going to start taking a look at those. Now, you want to get current if you can, especially if they're companies that you currently dealt with. Now, if they're old companies and you haven't paid them in a while, don't even contact them yet. Let's be very careful with that. Again, focus on debt is always secondary to the focus of your credit. Always keep that in mind. Now, with this spreadsheet, what you're going to do is you're just going to start being aware of your situation more than you have been. I'm not saying that you haven't been, but you can always do better. So your bank is someone you want to have a really good relationship with. If you need to, call them, because typically the way I would understand things is that you have been in contact with them already. Let them know that you need help and assistance. If there's overdraft fees, you want to get that kind of stuff taken care of. Let's look at your bank as a partner in your overall goals, okay? Now, the other thing is, let's look at other ways to make transactions. Not necessarily a checking account, but let's get maybe a secured card. If that is something you can get your hands on and you're not already using something like that, this is the first direction in building credit for where you're at right now. Also, having a couple different ways to make transactions it's on the side of wisdom. It's definitely something that you want to have. So yeah, let's take a look at all of your debts and put them in the order that you want to deal with them. So let's say you have a debt with mom. You love mom. You want to always make sure you're good with her. Put her as number one. Now let's say there's a medical bill that you don't even feel you owe. They've been harassing you. You don't agree with the situation. You were even told you weren't going to get billed. Well, this is on the bottom of your debt list. Along the way, we're gonna rearrange a little bit of that. I'm not saying that this has anything to do with the way we're gonna dispute some of these items, but let's just get on track. Now, another thing with debt, we have this debt reduction model. It's another PDF in our download. It's excellent. It's the most simple way to get out of debt, and it's also the most effective. People can't come up with anything better. Unless you're using, like an investment vehicle or an asset to pay off a debt. And what it basically does is it has you paying your smallest debt first, and then once that is paid off, you roll that money into the second one, and it gets more and more progressive. And finally, when you have just one debt left, you're paying that off. Now, again, this is only to those debts that you want to pay. If you really don't feel you owe someone money, don't pay them. If it's so old that it's not even an issue anymore, I wouldn't pay them right now. I'm not going to advise you to pay or not pay anything, because it is up to you. But really, if an item's 10 years old, they're not bothering you anymore, it's a done issue in a lot of ways. And so I would let that go. Deal with those ones that are emergencies to you and your family.